So, what is the history of curriculum mapping? And I guess I'd like to ask how many schools have adopted it nationwide and rather globally?
Sure. Let's start with the second question first, okay? There are literally millions of maps all over the world. Millions. And there are three major national software groups that have helped support the mapping work. And there are others that are smaller. There's not-for-profit groups as well. It's active in every single state. Some states require it now. Some states have purchased software. For example, South Dakota, or New Hampshire's going that direction. Or the state of Indiana has now set up what they call co-share, so that some of their regional service centers will help underwrite it. The same in New York. I could walk through the country and show you countless examples. It varies state to state, but it is no longer a kind of a few people do it, a few people don't. It's become much more mainstream in the same way that more teachers are comfortable with electronic facility. So as the sort of increase in teacher capability and ease with technology increased, plus this push towards standardization and testing, and some of that I don't like, but some of it has been useful. There's been a real push for tools that would allow that to happen. So there's been a sort of merging of factors that have coalesced, and as a result, mapping is in every state. It is around the world. I do travel a lot. I came back from Italy a week ago, and as I mentioned a month ago, I was in Australia. I just was talking to you about that. And a number of my colleagues as well. But it's in every continent except maybe Antarctica, but you know, who knows. And but any place there's electronic software, it's emerging, and some places more dominantly than others. The United States has the highest, by far and away, classroom electronic access. No other country comes close. But there are countries coming very close to it. I mean, whole cities now in Europe, for example, will be wireless, will be, you know, totally wireless, and hotspots will be every place. And, you know, as technology becomes less expensive and more equitable, you'll see it in a sense totally replace the old ways we use paper and pencil. So it's extremely widespread. In terms of the history, the model that is referred to is one that I developed about 10 years ago, and it was based on about 5 or 6 years previous to that. I've been an educator about 36 years, and about 27, 28 of those years, maybe almost 30 of those years, I've worked around the country and overseas. I got my doctorate at Columbia University in New York in 81, and I teach there. I've been on the faculty there, teach off and on since then. I continue to. And through the course of that time, and during my research, I wrote some books, and one of the things that started to fascinate me was this problem of communication vertically, as we call it, K through 12, that most people were mired in their departments in high schools, very isolated. Within elementary schools, people tended to communicate on grade level, and it struck me that the wrong people were meeting regularly. And also they were talking about the things on the shelf, which weren't necessarily what was really happening, my point earlier. So I had done a lot of work with curriculum design and planning and came up with sort of a series of procedures, started to field test them, and developed a model. The antecedents of that model came probably from Fenwick English, who was a very fine thinker, still does a lot of tremendous work on auditing curriculum, third-party audits. But I was more interested in having every teacher do this. And with the sort of convergence of electronic capability, we could now have it so that everyone could do it. In the past, it was like a committee, and it was handed to you. Now it could be reversed. And now, as I was mentioning before, now it's sort of, for me, it's come from the students. So that book came out, and it was a bestseller with ASCD, which is Association of Supervision Curriculum Development. It's a worldwide organization. And as a result of that work and that book, models emerged in terms of software models, but that's when it came out. It was about 10 years ago.